this series of videos, I want to be very meticulous. So I hope you'll be patient with me, and as I go along, you'll find this interesting. Thanks again. So these are the wing supports that I made last time and threw a coat of paint on. I've got my references here. You can see I've got the wing support references, the wire references, and the wiper references. I had forgotten about doing the windshield wipers. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not I'm going to do them, but for sure I have to do the wing supports. So that's the references I have here. And again, these just give me the placement. I mean, they are right down the middle, and just going through these. And then down here, I also have the wire references. As I was going through these, I'm noticing, okay, so I made a separate folder for those and kind of copied those into there as well. There's actually little doors, that's a little hatch. The wings are actually marked with where those go. I may make some styrene cardstock little doors and put them there. And that's a nice one from the side there. So I have that from both sides, and then again, exactly where it meets the wing and so on. And then for the wire references, this one from the Midway, it just really gives you kind of everything you need to know what goes from what. I have my easy wire. I'm going to do that. But the first thing I'll do is make sure I know exactly where everything for the wing and the wing supports go. Get that all ready, and then that way, once all this is done, I just have to put those on. And then finally, I have these wiper references. So it's one piece for the wiper, another piece coming down, a little turn here, and then if I could find something. So if I see something I like in the spares that will work for this part here on both sides, if the creative juices catch me, and I'll go for it. Otherwise, I'm happy with the way it looks now. As I mentioned, you can actually see on the wing, it's marked. These are that other set that I had, and you can see where it is. Yeah, there it is on this one, right there. Now, unfortunately, it's not as pronounced on the actual piece. It's right about there. Yeah, you can just get right above my thumb. You can just catch an outline of it. I didn't realize its significance earlier, but at least I now know exactly where that spot should be. So what I decided to do is actually make some little black squares and put them in those spots to kind of give the illusion that it's, deeper. And then I will make those little doors, that size to correspond with that opening. So you can see they go up into there, and then there's the little door that opens. Same thing on this one back here. There's this little, hatch. And also there's that insignia. Now, granted, this isn't the same plane, but it's right there in that corner. And, mine is right there in that corner. So I'm pretty happy with the placement of these. So I went and, in my little bits box here, found some nice wafer thin stock, and then using where I had taken those decals from as my measurement, just made two little wafer thin squares there. So I'll put those into place on each of these, and I just touched them with the flat gull gray on one side, and then on the inside, just to make it a little darker, I went with the gunship gray. Put those on. You'll see those pieces of sticky tack there. They were there to remind me which side the doors go on, because on one it's on the inner side and the other it's on the outer side. Doing some R&D on those pieces on the window. I'm liking where it's going on that side. I cut it on an angle to lean it up against there. I don't know. Still searching. I have these in with sticky tack, and like I said, I know that this forward one, it goes right behind that light, and as I kind of rest it there and then touch it in the back, if you can see that, I think that's still too high. It's way above those wires. It should be down lower. So I'm going to take a little bit off the top Yeah, it's the same thing here. So I'm going to drop them down both by the same amount and then see where I'm at. Okay. This is all just, I'm holding it in place. That's sitting on sticky tack. That's up in there with sticky tack. I'm just trying to see if I'm getting that right, because it's hard to hold it and look at it. So I'm actually going to look at this video to see if that works. All right, I'm going to do the same with the other one. Those the right things lined up. Yeah, so after looking at these videos later, I decided that, yeah, this placement was good, and then moved back onto the wipers. All right, still working on those windshield wipers. I found some photo etch, and I used that piece that I showed you before. So I'm kind of using that for the arms, and then I have those two pieces. Again, this is still in the experimental stage. I sticky tacked those on there. Now I think that piece sticking up sticks up too far. All right, I'm down to these 4 pieces here. I've kind of worked this down and worked that down, and now those white pieces are what I want to be the wipers. So I'm going to bring that over to here and put them on here, and then try to glue them on there, because the super glue comes up off of this plastic better. I don't want it to get stuck to the mat. So there's the 3 pieces together, and what I did is attached the photo etch to the square first, and then brought those over, set down the wiper, so to speak, and then laid that on top of there, and then touched it with some super glue. And by the way, this is what I use for the super glue. It's almost like a little tuning fork, and it grabs just a drop, and then you set it on there and it places a drop. And then I let that kind of set up, and then wick away the excess with those Tamiya pointed Q-tips. And now I'm hoping that holds together. And if it does, then I'll shoot it black and place it, you know, on the front there. So fingers crossed. And if this falls apart or doesn't work, then that's it. That was my attempt, and I'm moving on. And here you go from the front. This one on this side, after I paint it, I'll tilt it a little further inward, but I actually love the placement of this one over here. You know, the big concern I had was the profile from this side and how far away they stood off the surface, so to speak. But I'm gonna compare this video to my references. If I can get them to hold the paint and get back into place, I think those will look pretty cool. There we go. So now I got to get them on there, but that'll probably be the very last thing I do. It'll come after wiring, wings, and then wipers. I'm going to get started on the wiring. I've got my references over here up on the computer. You've seen them before. It's my first time doing this. I'm going to unpack this, but based on a couple of videos I watched out on YouTube, you know, this is the stuff to use. And this is also what Glenn recommends, so I'm gonna unbox this. And the instructions are pretty, I believe, pretty straightforward. Easy Line is one-of-a-kind elastic polymer with 700% stretch. This allows you to string telephone lines, rigging wires without fear of them breaking. Easy Line will not fray or get fuzzy like thread, and will not dry up like rubber. Ensure your poles are solidly secured. Hopefully I have. Put a teeny drop of super glue at the end of a toothpick. I've got my super glue over here. I've got thin and medium, and those will be the pink. Hold Easy Line where tweezers are between your fingers about ½ inch of the line sticks out, and touch the glue to your pole until it's secure. Blot away the excess. So yes, while you use super glue, the other way to do it much, quicker and almost more accurately is to then also use the zip kicker accelerator, which basically what that does is as soon as it touches super glue, it instantaneously dries and locks. So basically, as they say, touch the end to in the super glue, but then now I have the blue. I'll touch that in the zip kick and touch that to the surface that I want this to stick to. And then when you touch, as soon as it touches it, it sticks in place. And then you have your, sharp scissors, then you just cut that off right in place. Or even with, a brand new super sharp number 11 blade, just cut it off in place. So that's the approach that I'm going to take. Now I want to think about which order I want to do them in. I'm assuming bottom to top. So I just kind of think through it and then list out and label on that map how I go about it so I can document it for Glenn's instructions later. All right, so that's, the order I'm going to do it in. So then I pretty much followed the instructions, starting with the one that's going from the fuselage to the lower back rudder. I put the super glue in that hole and then put a little bit of the accelerator on the tip of the wire and then just touch that wire into there, and it stayed. And then basically followed the same procedure on the back. Touch the super glue to the post on the rudder, then touch some accelerator to the wire, and then held that wire against the post, and it stayed. Wow. Way cool. That worked exactly like I thought it would. Wow. Not as easy as it looks, but after numerous tries, this is what I came up with. The line between the two front ones a little tauter, more tight than I would have liked, but I'll live with it. And then that one, I just touched it to there, and then touched it to the rooftop. And then those two in the center going back, one going up to the top, and then one going underneath. Oh, I still have to cut that one off. And then the one going from the rooftop to the lower one and back. I'll cut that excess off and back, but that's my first ever wiring a model. All right, here's my first one. This is really tense, and I think that might still be too high, but I'm locked in now. But that's why those are adjustable. Okay, there we go. Now on this front one, I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't line up. What I did is I glued the door to the post and then touched it with glue where it meets there. And now I'll go under there with some gray and cover up that black. The other one is actually on where the door is supposed to go. So if I'm off by that, I'll take it because I wanted to make sure that I had separation between the two wings right there, and you can see they're close. They seem to be on the same line, but they're not touching, and that was my main concern. So now I have to put those hinges on in the centers there. Then the windshield wipers, which are in there. All right, there's the windshield wipers. See the one on that side. So there's the one on that side and the one on that side. I'm super happy with the way those came out. And then, the last part of the hinges there, that piece in the middle on both sides. So now propellers, and I'm gonna wait until all that super glue dries and then go around with a little some touch up, and then go around with a little dull coat on a brush and touch up those shiny spots. An aircraft carrier is often called a city at sea, and keeping that city resupplied while in constant motion is a logistical challenge. While underway replenishment ships provide fuel, ordnance, food, and other bulk items, the aircraft assigned to the Carrier Onboard Delivery Mission, known as COD, plays an equally important role delivering passengers, cargo, and most importantly, mail to deployed flat tops. In 1954, the Grumman TF-1 Trader, redesignated C-1A in 1962, boasted the same performance characteristics as the S-2 Tracker, with design changes mainly in a deeper fuselage, with windows cut out along the sides to accommodate up to 9 rear-facing passengers, or 3,500 pounds of cargo. The cabin could also be equipped with litters, one atop another, for transport of non-ambulatory passengers. A large port-side bifolding cargo door opened on double hinges to 5 foot 7 inches wide by 4 foot 2 inches high to facilitate outsized cargo. This feature was a specific requirement by the U.S. Navy to enable ferrying a crated Mark V nuclear bomb to carriers. In order to secure cargo for arrested carrier landings, vertical bulkheads were fitted forward and rear, movable and securable along upper and lower rails. Additionally, each of the airplane's 2 engine nacelles were extended and streamlined to house 2 7-man life rafts for safety in the event of a forced landing at sea. As a carrier-based aircraft, its 69-foot 8-inch wingspan folded to a mere 27 feet. Reliably airworthy, the plane could make a deck launch from an Essex-class carrier with just 2 knots of wind over the deck. At a maximum takeoff weight of 24,650 pounds, the Trader could achieve a speed of 281 miles an hour at 4,000 feet, with a range of 1,110 miles, better than that of the Tracker. Equipped with the latest navigational devices, including autopilot, the Trader was suitable for all-weather operations, not only in its main transport role, but also for instrument flying and multi-engine training and carrier landing training. The Trader entered service in January 1955 and operated from the Navy's flat tops as well as several land-based squadrons for the ensuing 33 years, until it became the last piston-engine shipboard type in the U.S. Navy fleet. The Trader was also the last aircraft to use a bridle for catapult launches. The final C-1A made its final launch from its carrier, the USS Lexington, on 27 September 1988 to Pensacola Aviation Museum. There she sits on the shelf next to her namesake ship and all of her shipmates, at least the airplanes. So with that, all of the airplanes for this USS Enterprise project are complete, except for these 1 to 720 C-1A Traders. And you can see there's one with the wings removed, so I'll probably build that one with the wings folded. But like I said, that does it for the airplanes. Now the last kit in this project will be this, the UH-2C Sea Sprite, which I was able to find. It's a clear prop made in Ukraine, and I was worried with the war, might not be able to find it, but I was able to find it, and there's the 1 to 720s for that. And then I'll turn to the ship and do all the final placement, crew, things of that nature on the ship to complete the entire project. As far as the C-1A Trader and the instructions that I was working on with Glenn, I've been updating a spreadsheet with all the changes that I made and collecting photos and diagrams along the way. So I'll pass that along to him. So hopefully somewhere down the road in his website, you may see those instructions for how to build this plane. So that does it for this build in my USS Enterprise project. I hope you found that interesting, and by all means, please let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching and happy modeling.